Welcome back to Power Panel 365. Today we're here with Mr. Pete at Geoffrey's Club, and we're going to be interviewing him, asking him a few questions about his club. Good morning, Mr. Pete. How are you?
Nice of you to ask. I'm okay. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So you have inspired me, and I love the club. I'm going to be asking you some questions, of course. So question number one, what inspired you to start or build your club and business?
I waited tables at the dock of the bay on the Berkeley Marina and trained to bartend at the Depot, a restaurant in Santa Cruz. But then had the opportunity of its kind, particularly on the marina. Solomon Grundy's was there first, which is morphed into Skates. And they had the restaurant called His Lordship was in that same proximity. So I waited tables there and waited on some. It just was phenomenal. And I had trained in Barkley Jacks. I had plenty of experience. He also was on the board at East Bay Mud. Took a sabbatical, and he said, "Geoffrey, I can't exhaust my leave any further. We're gonna just have to close it if you don't do it." And at that time, it was really no delivery people would deliver the goods, so it just was challenging. Good, it turned out to be good character builder for myself, and eventually we got our footing, and it became very, very popular, and a lot of local celebrities came to help authenticate it, because at one point in time sales were down to 20,000, I think it was a month, and then we moved up to 100 and something thousand. Very challenging. The dock of May, that was my that's where I cut my teeth. Phenomenal place, and waited on Randall Robinson, waited on Byron Rumford, waited on Dr. Carlton Goodman, and a fuselage of prominent African Americans, both political and otherwise.
About the Black Panthers, how have the Black Panthers inspired or impacted you over the years?
That's an interesting question. My first cousin, Tarika Lewis, was the first African American woman in the Panther Party. But she was not by her lonesome in my family. They were my cousins were very, very involved in the Black Panther Party. And it was interesting. I remember hearing a brother, he wasn't delivering the eulogy at Huey's funeral because J. Alfred Smith Sr. delivered the eulogy. And so I asked the ladies, were they friends of Mr. Dune? They said no. Did you know him? No. And I said, well, why would you be here? And they said, just the respect and all that was done for me to benefit from. Woo! Just, warm your heart. And toward that end, one of the speakers said there weren't any black stewardesses until there weren't any black bank tellers until the Black Panther Party. And this just doesn't happen overnight. And so it just is amazing what impact young black men and women can make on the body politic and on the state of affairs. Impact the Panther Party had on the Oakland community, the national community, and the world community, just over the way my mother integrated the YWCA right over here, and I'll think of the lady who designed it, architect. Anyway, and we got to swim there. Ruth Beckford got to swim there because of Dorothy Pete. And once Dorothy Pete, my brother, got savagely beat up by the Oakland police. And one of her coworkers said he probably had it coming or something that wasn't too palatable for my mother, and she resigned. And that's interesting because she and my father had a mortgage, but she resigned there and went to work at. They hired her at that Lakeshore. Had heard about Lakeshore Avenue Baptist Church, and somebody because she integrated there too, and somebody white who was a member of Lakeshore said, "Did you hire her?" Said this to Rob Romney, who was then the minister. "Did you hire her because she was black or because she's qualified?" And he thought about it. He said, "For both those reasons." Interestingly enough, but that segregated why at that time. Who would have thought that my mother's youngest son would be at 15 and now. This was a private all-male club, just a stone's throw. I take the 88 bus from Reeves Records in front of my uncle's and cousin's record store and take the 88 here and walk over and I get popcorn and I get to walk home with my mother would take the 88 back. But this was a private all-male white club. And the YWCA was as such. She integrated it, Dorothy Pete integrated. So this was a different terrain.
Yeah, one more time.
These pictures were minstrel show type photos that were taken by the former members in 1959 of blackface with the watermelon in the background. And it was a private all-male club. Nolan, the former senator and owner of the Tribune, was a member here. All the prominent, or a great many, prominent individuals were members of this club. And to think that an African American would now occupy the throne, if you will, is amazing. And that my beautiful, loving, sweet mother worked just across the way. I mean, it's just amazing. And she didn't have a lot of fun things to say about the YWA, but she was appreciative of Helen Grant, who let her come to all of the school outings and field trips. And the little girls would say, that's not your mom. That ain't none of your mama. I said, it is too, Mom. Aren't you, Mama? And she would. She's a really, she's a very, very attractive as well as brilliant woman. And she and my father and mother just did a phenomenal job. That was the YWCA. And before this interview is over, I'll think of the architect, white woman architect, who designed the building.
So this is a photograph of the building. Yeah, and this one says October 1971.
So I wanted to show you some of those pictures so you can get a sense of the history. This is the environment that gave birth to the Black Panther Party. Without the blackface and the private exclusive membership clubs, there probably wouldn't have been. And the segregated police department in the city of Oakland, which was notorious.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Pete.
Decidedly different. And integrating the economic landscape in Oakland or anywhere is more difficult than integrating lunch counters in the deep South. It could be the psychic memory of slavery or whatever, but it's not intended for us. That pool of money, and we have to fight for it.
Wow. Okay. Talk to us a little bit. The Oakland Business Collab. Talk to us a little bit about your participation, creating jobs and building wealth in the
Why don't you repeat that?
Okay, the Oakland Business Collab. I wanted to get some.
OBC, the Oakland Business Collab?
Yes.
Okay.
How did you play a role with the job creation and building wealth within the Black community? I guess by all you guys working together.
Yeah, that's a new group that's coming together. The individuals comprise of the Bay Area production, individuals who have managed Jamie Foxx,
Like
Marcus King, the Black comedy competition, Tony Spires, Henry Royal, who worked with a number of prominent groups, and so we came together and are trying to make a staff. We're trying to make a effort to consolidate our group and impact the business community and employment community in the city of Oakland.
Wonderful. What advice would you give to future youth? I'm sorry, what advice would you give to youth and future entrepreneurs?
No matter how difficult it gets, draw your line in the sand, purchase, no matter what kind of shape the facility, the building is in, the house is in, buy some property in Oakland. It's not too late. If you have to fix up just the restroom or the kitchen of the facility, do that brick by brick. Work on it till you get that house, and get your cousin or auntie to also purchase the one. Don't let any of them get foreclosed on. Get somebody who would help and integrate that housing for you so that it's representative of African Americans, because increasingly we're being designed out. We're not being designed out of the homeless population underneath the freeway, but we're being designed out of every other area of Oakland. Gentrification is the order of the day, not just, it's in music, it's in every aspect of the human endeavor. We are being designed out while folks watch. And we have to change that. And we can, and they can, the young folks. Just a house. And to come up with get the officials to come up with some recommendations as it relates to how young folks, say graduates from Spelman, graduates from Southern schools, can come and get housing here in downtown with no down payment if they stay and teach in Oakland. We need Black teachers. Nothing impacted my life like Black teaching. Miss Maple, she did it literally and figuratively. She beat my knuckles. Miss Carrington did, but oh my goodness, they had an impact. Mr. Guest did too. He was the janitor. He whipped my ass. I mean, it was phenomenal. But I also can tell you the philanthropic things he did that have left an imprint on me. But we need the teachers. We need the teachers to come in the public school system. The Oakland public school system, we need them to have housing. We need them to have good housing. And they need to get down payments paid for by the city to reverse this evil trend. We see what was here. We see how we want to go back to the past, but that's what the young kids can do.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pete. Thank you. I commend you